Arigato. McTrash.
Rice.
So I have been to Japan a few times when my sister lived here, but this trip I came out specifically to meet up with Damon and Misako to see Misako's new home as she's discovering her Japanese heritage.
Actually, I don't know if I'm doing it right, so
We also came to celebrate the new year with some mutual friends, and of course, I spent a couple of nights out between Tokyo and Kyoto. Something I did want to do since starting this podcast was come back to Japan and truly get a first-hand deep dive into Japanese culture, both as a follow-up with Misako, but also to talk to some new people. And from those interviews, I did notice a few recurring themes that I thought would be interesting to discuss. So in my most two recent episodes of Accidentally Ethnic, I was able to interview two completely different humans who both have the same talking points of their culture and individualism. And as we get into what that means, what that looks like, I would love to hear from you all if you feel like your own culture embraces individualism, or do you feel like your culture is one that really holds that back and you have to find other ways to express your individualism?
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of this Atlanta-based crew, welcome to Tokyo. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened and keep the aisles clear.
It really does come through that Japan is a culture of discipline. It's a culture of respect, and it's a culture of honor.
they're worried that we won't be able to follow the rules, whether that's like within the building or trash separation.
In the Philippines, I'm not, Filipino enough. In Japan, I'm not Japanese enough. So like I don't know where to identify as.
I'm not hating Japanese education like culture. We are very disciplined. We train a lot. We study, and in the quiet side, not loud side. So as a musician, to train your technique, it's very nice.
The first one that stands out to me as an American is the consumerism. I mean, every street corner has a vending machine. There's 7-Elevens, Lawson's, Natural Lawson's, Family Marts.
Damon, Dominique, you take me to another Amazon locker? All the years we've traveled together, every time I come to a city with you, it's a goddamn Amazon locker.
Convenience stores galore, plastic wrapped in plastic, wrapped in plastic, easy access to just grab things and go. I think that consumerism is almost a mask for individualism. If they can consume individual things or consume bits and pieces of what represents their personality, that might be the replacement for just outwardly expressing their personality.
Actually, I'm a violinist, classical violinist, and I was raised in New Orleans, Louisiana when I was little, and our family came back to Japan after that, and now I'm the concert master in Osaka Symphony Orchestra.
Being born in Kyoto and then raised in the States and then being back to Kyoto and traveling the world.
Yes.
Do you feel like you're still culturally Japanese in Kyoto? You feel that mostly in yourself?
My personality, as a musician, the time I spent in New Orleans, that is a big influence. I feel it like, I'm an outgoing person.
Yeah.
And I say it straight, very straight, not as Japanese.
Yeah.
They are hiding, not hiding, but they're not, too much saying like, what I mean.
Is it the different faces, like your personal face, your interpersonal face, and like your, yes.
They pretend that they're cool. Like,
Yeah.
I know. But sometimes it's good, but as a musician, it's an opposite thing. Like,
Yeah.
you have to express yourself.
And I think for Koji, his viewpoint of the discipline and the rigor of practicing and doing things and consuming content, I think he looks at music and how it can be reproduced and consumed in Japan as being almost like a consumer product versus an expression of oneself. And that's where his approach to music was really rooted in the time he spent in New Orleans and being able to find and tap into that individual expression while also being able to practice his music at a very, very rigid pace.
Okay, so I booked a class at Lava Yoga Studio, and I booked the first class of the day.
Yeah.
But, they want you to show up 30 minutes before so that they can walk you through all the studio rules, which I understand. But I thought because my class was the first class of the day that maybe like they wouldn't be there 30 minutes before. So I went 15 minutes before thinking like, how many rules can you walk me through in the yoga studio? Well, I was wrong. I was late, so they wouldn't let me take the class because I didn't show up 30 minutes before. Then the paper with all the rules was only in Japanese. Sometimes they have both, but this one only had Japanese. And I just think the frustration that she felt because I didn't show up on time and she couldn't explain the rules to me. She was like, you can't do yoga here.
It really does come through that Japan is a culture of discipline. It's a culture of respect, and it's a culture of honor. That is why Japan has lasted as long as it has. There's no doubt about that. But what happens when that rigidity and that order and that discipline is so strict that it excludes other people? Where are you from?
I'm Seiji Suzuki.
Okay.
That's my full name, and I'm 26
26.
years old. I'm Japanese and Filipino.
Awesome.
When I went to the Philippines, I was pretty open about myself, Like, I would play with my doll,
Yeah.
and my family in the Philippines pretty much accepted it, except for my stepdad.
Okay. And then you came back to Japan after
I
that.
did came back to Japan from like, I was like 5th grade, I think. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then do you feel like when you came back here, where's your family or your community of accepting as?
It was really hard for me
Really?
because like when I came back here, I didn't speak Japanese at all because like I couldn't, I had to start over.
Yeah.
But at first it was really hard because like I get the bullying. I thought they were gonna be pretty accepted because I'm part Japanese, but they don't really like that.
Really?
Tell you, there are so many forums about like how to get housing here as a foreigner. That's why I'm in this apartment, because this is for foreigners through a company. They rent apartments for foreigners, people who just moved here for jobs, language students, because the process of getting one is like, if there are 100 apartments, you like maybe 10 of those are foreign friendly, and the foreign friendly apartments are typically very old, overpriced. You have to pay all the fees. They're worried that we won't be able to follow the rules. Whether that's like within the building or trash separation, or they think will be like a disturbance to the rest of the community. When I was working with a real estate agency, they're like, we can help you find an apartment. Part of the process was like, when they call you back, you don't answer the phone, you come here, we'll answer the phone for you, basically pretending like it's me.
Wow.
So that the landlord doesn't realize that I don't speak Japanese fluently.
I had a really, tan
Yeah.
skin, and they would make fun of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Yeah.
and I couldn't speak Japanese, so like I couldn't defend myself. So they would, make fun of me for being, not saying anything.
I think in the case of Sage, we saw that he was bullied, that he was unable to return to his own home country because he was not fully pure Japanese. Is that part of the Japanese rigidity, that their culture is so strict and so straightforward that even a person born in Japan with a Japanese parent isn't considered truly Japanese because their father's from somewhere else? or they might speak a different language. This idea of a musician expressing themselves and being an individual, does that fit within the Japanese culture? It doesn't seem like it. It seems as though that expression of oneself is stepping outside this blending in and being normal and being average. And that really doesn't go along with the narrative of blending into society for the progress of society. I think for both of these guys, their expression of individualism isn't really a rebellion, but it's more survival. They both needed to find a way to move forward, to express themselves, and to help their culture grow a little bit.
I'm kind of mixed, you know. I was raised in the States and I go to Europe very much, and I get some essence of the other culture and thinking. And as a musician, you have to go to many places and you have to meet many people and various kind of, you have to eat food and like you have to cry and laugh and, you know, all the experiences. It helps your sound grow rich.
And gay marriage is not quite legal here, right?
In Shibuya, there's this thing called partnership.
Okay.
It's not really a marriage, but it's about being partner in a same-sex marriage.
Now, an observation that I've always noticed, and it's a pretty well-known topic, is the aging and the declining population of Japan. I believe last year, Japan's population declined by nearly 1 million people. I believe that declining population probably has some factors outside of, you know, Koji and Sage's background story, but specifically for Sage, when you look at someone who was bullied for not being pure Japanese, you know, that's not really encouraging other people who would possibly want to move into a culture. It probably is a hard and a scary thing, again, to think about opening up your culture, opening up your country to save a declining population by allowing in new influences.
If you're half like Southeast Asian or like Chinese or like American, like people of color, they will make fun of you. But if you're half Japanese and half white, they will
be more accepting.
Yeah, they will be more accepting and they will like envy you.
I know in Japan there's a big adoration for Jamaican culture. There's influences of American culture.
Cold beer on a Friday night. A pair of jeans that fit just right.
There's parts of the world that are still being integrated into their culture. And I think what Sage and Koji are looking at are, you know, if you're allowing food and music and television into your lives, allow those people into your lives too. Allow them to understand your culture and then let your culture grow. You can still be forward progressive, forward looking, and still maintain the awesome and deep history and culture that is Japan. Now, again, I am just an American coming in and providing my perspective, but it's based off of these conversations I had with Sage and Koji. I think as Americans, we take for granted the true freedom of self-expression that we have. While people may claim that, you know, the freedom of speech is always under attack and you're being canceled for it, you can still take out TV ads. You can still go to your federal, state, or city government and protest. You're able to do these things. You're able to express yourselves. You can choose your career. You can choose how you want to dress and live in society. I think what we can take away from both Sage and Koji is that the power of growth comes from the power of the individual. You know, whole genres of music and painting and all types of art can be influenced by one person. If you look at entertainment, it could be one songwriter, it could be one drag performer, one wig maker that really influences a whole new category and theme of entertainment. The growth of culture can come from isolation, but it really comes from the individuals that are in that culture that make it grow. And I think both Sage and Koji realize that, and that is what they try to express in our conversations. It was really interesting to hear how they discussed that, and would love to hear from you. Any advice you could give to people based off of just like who you are in your life? What would you say to the youths coming up?
Would say just be yourself.
Be yourself and believe your sound and believe your impression.
Yeah.
You know, people are probably gonna talk about like negative about yourself, but just brush it off. Like don't listen to them.
On the other hand, you have to grow your taste and eat many things and just puke or enjoy, puke, enjoy it.
I know it's hard, but it can get better.
Yeah.
Because I wish people, I wish someone said that to me. Be confident about who you are.
That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to do it. And I love traveling. I love meeting people. And life is not that long. You should do it today.
What can I do, Amen?
You can't take a nap in your room. You're not allowed to separate.
I've been with you for like 10 hours.
And that's not long enough. You cannot go up to 6:08, 7:08.
I just want a crunchy snack.
That's all you've ever wanted, actually.
Literally just crunch.
It's like your
We both can't fit in there. You scared of all the spice?
He's ready.
Your stomach should be. You guys, my stomach's fine.
I know.
Your stomach's not.
I got a third world stomach, baby girl. I grew up eating this shit.
I have a very
Tails,
fabulous-
eyeballs. Well,
That was Mount Fuji.
that was Mount Fuji.
disrespectful.
Come on, I bet it's authentic.
I can't wait to go eat that.
Nachos?
That's what I want.
Go to sleep, little Saka. Oh my god. Make a move on up. Congrats. You've accidentally watched this entire video. Now be sure to listen to full podcast episodes of these accidentally ethnic guests and more.